Let's just get right into it today because my head is absolutely spinning, and I've been staring at this glowing computer screen for way too long. General Hospital's spoilers are out, and it's official, you guys! Steve Burton is taking a hiatus from the ABC soap. Again. I know. We've been through this before. We have survived Jason Morgan leaving and coming back more times than I can honestly count at this point in my life. But it doesn't make it any less stressful for those of us who literally map out these complicated storylines on our living room walls like we are detectives. Last month he shared that he is taking some time off in order to focus on his wife Michelle and their family. And honestly, good for him. Family comes first. Always. But as a fan who has to write about this stuff every single day and try to make sense of the Port Charles chaos, I am sweating. Since then, fans have been speculating like mad about the circumstances of Jason's exit. And let me tell you, the theories floating around on social media right now are absolutely wild. And it's not just the fans making things up out of thin air this time. Burton and his colleague Bradford Anderson host a podcast together. You guys know the one they talk about, the show, they joke around, it's a good time. Anyway, recently Burton teased that Jason's exit will be very interesting. He added that in the coming weeks, fans will have a couple of surprises that elicit a whoa, then a what, before concluding, it's going to be fun. Fun? Fun for who, Steve? Because my blood pressure is already through the roof just thinking about it. I don't know if I can handle another presumed death or a fiery bridge crash or whatever the writers are cooking up in that writer's room, right? Now, but here we are. We have to deal with it. So let's break down what we know so far and what could be a massive bombshell departure for Stone Cold. So let's talk about the actual plot right now because it is a lot. Jason and Britt Westbourne are planning to abscond to Canada. Yes, Canada. Of all places. They are trying to escape her hostage situation and try to reverse engineer her Huntington meds. Which, okay, sounds like a solid plan on paper. Get out of town, get to a safe lab, fix the meds, save her life, but when has a plan ever gone right on this show? Never. Literally never. Britt is desperate and Jason is, well, Jason. He's always trying to save someone. It's his whole personality at this point. He can't just sit back and let someone he cares about be in danger. But the stakes are so high right now. The medication reverse engineering thing is so complicated and I don't even fully understand the science of it. But I know it means life or death for Britt. And Jason knows that too. And because Jason knows this is basically a suicide mission, he's preparing for the absolute worst. As such, Jason redid his will and took pains to find a guardian for his son, Danny Morgan. This breaks my heart. It really does. Just picturing Jason sitting down with a lawyer and legally preparing for the fact that he might not come back alive, it's heavy stuff. And who is he looking at for guardianship? Alexis Davis? Which makes sense on some levels because she is family, but it's also a total mess right now in her world. Let's just go off on a tangent here for a second because the Alexis situation is driving me crazy and I need to vent. Alexis is in the running to be Danny's guardian if something happens to Jason. But she's already caring for Scout Quartermain. Or trying to, anyway. But there's this ridiculous restraining order in place that Drew Kane set up, and Willow Kane is basically using Scout as a pawn. So Alexis wants both Danny and Scout under her roof if Jason is gone, but she can't do that if the restraining order is still in place. She's literally begging Willow to lift the ban so Danny can see Scout. Honestly, what is Willow thinking? I used to like her, I really did. But this whole controlling stepmother routine is getting old fast. She's keeping these kids apart while Drew is incapacitated. And Jason is looking at this whole circus and thinking, yeah, this is the best place for my son. It just shows how desperate Jason is right now. He knows he's walking into a trap with this Canada plan. He knows Ross Cullum is watching his every move. He just wants his kid to be safe, even if the family dynamics are a total disaster. Which brings us to the really big question. What will happen to Jason Burton was pretty mum on the exact circumstances of his character's exit, but he did say he expects to air until the end of March. So we have a few weeks left of Stone Cold before he vanishes from our screens. There's been a ton of speculation as to how Jason leaves the canvas, and some fan theories sound particularly prescient. We know the show has been dropping grim hints for weeks now. The spoilers literally say we need to get ready for Jason's departure and Britt's devastation. That word right there. devastation. It means Jason isn't just going to wave goodbye from a train window and send a postcard. He's going to be ripped away in a way that breaks Britt's heart. For example, one popular opinion online right now is that Jason will be kidnapped by dirty WSB director Ross Cullum. Will Cullum kidnap Jason? This is the most likely scenario, honestly. Cullum has warned his lab hostage, Britt Westbourne, not to have anything to do with Jason. Neither she nor Jason have complied, and we sense that Cullum's ready to neutralize Jason's threat to his cold fusion program. I mean, Cullum is a bad dude. He's not playing games. Jack Brennan is literally warning Jocelyn Jacks that there's a traitor in the WSB, and that if Cullum finds out, they are onto him. They'll all be killed. The stakes have never been higher. And Jocelyn, bless her heart, is trying to warn Jason. She stormed into the coffee warehouse a few episodes ago to read him the riot act over spilling her secret to Carly, and to tell him what Carly's been up to so he can talk her out of it. But Jason is distracted, because of course he is. Why? Because of Carly. It always comes back to Carly, doesn't it? Even when Jason is literally planning to flee the country to save Britt's life and writing his last will and testament, he has to stop and deal with Carly's mess. It is exhausting. I am exhausted just typing it. So, Jason is having a really bad day. He goes to confront Carly about her ridiculous alliance with Valentin Cassadine. He wants her to cut ties with him immediately. And what happens? He walks in and catches Carly in a meeting with Valentin. I can just picture the look on Jason's face. That stoic, jaw-clenched look. He's gonna rip into her, but we all know Carly isn't gonna listen. She never listens. I honestly aren't sure anything Jason says will change Carly's mind, which is obviously a headache Jason doesn't need with everything else going on in his life right now. He is trying to pack for Canada, Carly. Let the man breathe. But let's get back to the actual exit. What happens next in PC? Britt and Jason are making plans to flee to Canada, so there's always a chance he gets lost along the way. The spoilers say the escape plan he's arranged is bound to go wrong. Ross Cullum may catch on so he could ruin Jason and Britt's attempt to disappear to Canada until her medication can be reverse engineered. Jason could be headed for some kidnapping chaos or even some presumed death mayhem depending on what Cullum has in store. Presumed death mayhem. Those 3 words are basically the General Hospital motto at this point. How many times has Jason Morgan been presumed dead? I've lost count. You've lost count. The writers have definitely lost count. But it works every time, because we love the guy, and we always want to see how he survives. If Cullum kidnaps him, where does he take him? A secret WSB black site, a dungeon under Windermere. Wait, no. Windermere is already booked up with Jen Sidwell's disastrous dinner party where Marco Rios might actually murder Pascal. There's too much going on. But what if it's not a kidnapping? What if it's something weirder? Maybe in Nixon Falls, where he gets knocked on the head and turns up in PC. Months from now with a goatee and a cardigan. Okay, that sounded dramatic, but you get what I mean. The fans on social media are having a field day with this Nixon Falls idea. Imagine Jason Morgan the Enforcer, the leather jacket wearing hitman, living a quiet life in Nixon Falls, serving pie and wiping down counters. Sonny did it? Why not Jason? It would be hilarious, but also terrible. Please don't do that, writers. I know, maybe I'm being too harsh on the writers. They have a tough job. Having to write out a main character temporarily is really hard. You can't just kill him because he's coming back. You can't just have him go on a sunny vacation, because that's completely out of character for Jason. So kidnapping, or presumed death, are really the only tools left in the toolbox. But I just hope they make it make sense. The whole cold fusion program and the WSB traitor stuff is really complicated and sometimes hard to follow. I just want to see Jason and Britt have a real genuine moment before it all goes to hell. Because Britt is going to be absolutely crushed. The spoilers say Jason won't keep his promise to stick around. That hurts to even think about. Britt has been through so much lately. She finally trusts someone, she finally has some tiny shred of hope for her, Huntington's, and then bam! Jason is gone, and she's left holding the bag. It's tragic. It really is. And I'm gonna need a lot of tissues for those episodes, because Kelly T-Bot is gonna act her heart out. And let's not forget the ripple effects this will have on the rest of Port Charles. If Jason disappears, what happens to Danny? Does Alexis immediately take custody? Does Willow fight her on it just to be spiteful? And what about Carly? Will she Blame Valentine for distracting Jason? Will she blame herself? Probably not, let's be real. But she will definitely go on a warpath. And Jocelyn and Jack Brennan are still in the crosshairs of Ross Cullum. If Cullum takes down Jason, who is to say he won't come after Jocelyn next? Brennan is already terrified that there is a traitor in the WSB. This whole town is about to be turned upside down. So, what do you guys think? Burton did say fans would be stunned. So now we want to hear your astounding theories on how Jason temporarily exits PC. Will it be Cullum throwing him in the trunk of a car? Will it be a fiery explosion on the way to the Canadian border? Will Valentine somehow be involved? Since Jason just caught him with Carly in that warehouse, Rocco Falconeri is somehow supposed to play a role in how someone exits port. Charles too, according to the timeline. Could Rocco accidentally cause Jason's disappearance? That would mess Dante up for life. I don't know, my brain is fried. Let me know in the comments what you think, because I need to go lie down and process all of this.